How's it going, everyone? My name is Michael SK, and welcome back to Amatsutsumi. So in the last episode, we finally wrapped up all of Kyoko's stuff. Her route is done, her story is done, and now it's time to completely shift focus to Mana, which I feel like may enlighten us on some of the other things, like where these people, or what the origins, I guess, of these people, the people here in this village, their whole kotodama deal, the gods, whatever else, who knows. I feel like this is a story that will help us understand the background of our main character, if anything, which could make this to be a really good part of the game, or at least I hope. I've mentioned it before, but I personally am not fond of Mana's character, but she hasn't really been explored that much compared to everybody else so far, so she really hasn't been given a chance. So I'm going to be optimistic, I promise, and we'll see where that leads us. I stopped for a moment when a chill wind caressed the back of my neck. I pulled my shawl tighter around my shoulders and wrapped my arms around my body, squinting. In the distance, the mountains glowed softly, reflecting the afternoon sunlight. A sight I hadn't seen for a little while, the view on the way to my house. How many times had I walked this path before? Exhaling, I looked down at my feet. Now that I stopped walking, I felt like I was suddenly wearing leaden boots as my feet refused to start moving again. Honestly, I didn't want to be doing this. I didn't know how I could face her, how I could act, or what I could say. If I kept wasting time here on the road, it might be too late by the time I arrived. I almost thought it would be easier that way. Suddenly, a particularly strong gust almost knocked me off my feet. Damn, this village has some wind. I stumbled forward, and my legs started to work again. Oh, she was younger at this point, alright. I grumbled out loud to no one in particular. I didn't want to go home, but I had to. I had to go home and meet her. Meet Nozomi. Who is this Nozomi character? I'm already interested, you know? Oh, never mind. I'm not interested anymore. Back up. Back her up. Back her up. Back the truck up. Trying to make as little noise as possible, I entered the room quietly and called out to Nozomi, who was lying on the bed.
Mana, okaeri.
She slowly opened her eyes, smiled faintly, and breathed a greeting.
Hisashiburi ne.
I thought I had been prepared, but seeing my sister's face grown gaunt and sickly made me feel as if a hole had been ripped in my chest. Yeah, this is sad before it really needed to be. Still, I somehow managed to smile back at her.
Ureshii. Mata, Mana ni aete, mou aenai ka to omotta.
Her voice was hoarse, and she spoke between painful breaths. This must have been the best that she could manage anymore. My parents had told me that she was almost blind now, too.
Sonna koto iwanai de.
I gently hold her outstretched hand. Her fingers were mere skin stretched over bone and pale. As twins, we had grown up with everyone telling us how identical we looked, how impossible it was to tell us apart. But now nobody could possibly mistake us, such as the extent of Nozomi's deterioration.
Zettai ni naoru kara.
My kotodama embodied the last thread of hope I still held on to, but...
Mou wakatteru kara.
As I feared, it could have no effect on Nozomi now. Its failure told me there is nothing left to do, nothing that I could do, and cast yet another dark shadow on my heart.
Watashi, nagaku nai. So deshou. Dakara, Mana, kaette kita.
Many emotions fought with each other in my chest, spiraling into each other. Oh, excuse me, and yet... I shouldn't be drinking carbonated, like... I've got, like, a carbonated, ice, or water. I mean, it's called sparkling ice. I drink it all the time at work. And I've been bringing it with me to recording sessions, and it has not been a good combination of trying to, speak. I couldn't give them voice. What could I say? Also, by the way, this brand is so much better than like all the other like sparkling waters and all that. I think that's the actual term, is sparkling water, not carbonated. I mean, it is carbonated, but it's much better than like what's that very like mainstream brand? It'll come to me. Oh, LaCroix, that's what it is. Before I realized it, my tears were overflowing onto Nozomi's hand.
マナ、泣かないで。
With a labored smile, she squeezed my hand, but there was barely any strength left in her fingers. It felt like nothing more than a light caress.
のぞみ、
Even now, as she lay dying, her hand was very warm. After a long-lasting high-grade fever, the patient's life force eventually burns out, resulting in death. That's how my parents had described the symptoms of the disease to me. And they also told me that Nozomi was too far gone to survive. That's why the adults of the village told me, go and see her one last time. I guess that's kind of explains her hesitancy that she had on her way here. Until now, we had been kept away to avoid letting the disease spread. But just for today, they allowed me to return home to see Nozomi.
マナ、お願いがあるの。聞いてくれる？
She looked up at the ceiling blankly, whispering in an almost inaudible voice.
当たり前でしょ。何でも言って。
Wiping my tears with one hand, I brought my face closer to hers.
誠のこと、お願い。
What's the relation with Makoto? She closed her eyes.
のぞみ、
For a moment I feared the worst, but apparently she had just fallen asleep again. Speaking just those few sentences must have tired her out. Take care of Makoto for me. Nozomi's voice echoed in my heart. Somewhere deep inside, I had been waiting desperately to hear those words. And yet, why did I feel nothing but pain?
のぞみ、ごめんなさい。
I took her hand and pressed it to my forehead as I closed my eyes. Large tears flowed down my cheeks and fell to the floor. Okay, but like, what was the relation there between this Nozomi and Makoto? Was she originally with Makoto?
寒い。
Ayo?
ねえ、マナ、雪よ。雪が降ってる。
Oh. That's kinda sus. I couldn't understand what was happening. Something white and fluffy was floating gently down through the air.
雪、
That was impossible. How could snow be falling indoors? And yet...
寒い。
My body shivered in the cold. The snow started falling faster and thicker until it mostly blocked my vision.
きれい。
Nozomi half opened her eyes as she reached out towards the snow. The next moment, her arm dropped limply onto the bed.
のぞみ、のぞみ。
No matter how many times I called her name, her eyelids never moved again.
のぞみ、そんな、
Where did the snow come from? Was it something that, like, Nozomi accidentally did? No, that doesn't make sense. Oh. Feeling horribly suffocated, I leap out of bed. As I look around the room, my consciousness slowly starts to come awake. Putting my hand on my chest, I can tell my heart is beating rapidly. I breathe deeply a few times and then wipe the tears from the corners of my eyes. My chest and armpits are drenched with sweat, and my sleeping clothes feel damp all over. The same dream again. I feel like I've been having that dream a lot more frequently since I left the village. A dream of my elder twin sister, who died during the epidemic after suffering from a terrible fever. Right before she died, she told me to take care of Makoto for me. I can remember her exact words, but it wasn't a kotodama, it was just a simple request. Although it was many years ago now, it's as clear in my memory as if it were yesterday. Excuse me, I can't read.
あ、起きたんだ。おはよう、マナちゃん。
Kokoro, who has quietly entered the room, notices that I'm up. In her hand, she's holding a small glass, which she holds out to me.
はい、どうぞ。え、ありがとう。
I'm surprised by her sudden kindness, but I thank her and accept the glass. The inside of my mouth is bone dry, and I was just hoping for some water to drink. The glass is full of hot water. As I drink it, I felt its heat slowly spread through my body. Yeah, for me and probably a lot of other people, it's like usually cold water whenever you first wake up, and you can really just feel that coolness go through your body. But for Mana, probably because she's always cold, it's the opposite. After I finish it, I feel quite a bit better.
おはよう、心。わざわざ私のために持ってきてくれたの？うん。なんだかすごくうなされてるみたいだったから気になって。寝言で寒いって言ってたから左右にしてみたんだけど、冷たい方が良かったかな。
Actually, that seems to have been very considerate.
いいえ、これで正解よ。気が利くのね。これくらい普通だよ。
Giggling, she bends down to take the empty cup back from me.
あれ？
Looking at the area around my neck, her eyes widen in surprise. She must have noticed how much I sweated in my sleep.
汗ぐっしょりだね。寒かったわけじゃないの？あ、エアコン切ってたからむしろ暑くて汗かいてかえって体が冷えちゃったとか。風邪ひいてない？一応熱測ってみる？平気。心配しないで。なんともないから。
If I don't stop this now, I have a feeling she'll keep fussing over me forever.
本当？ならいいけど。無理しちゃダメだよ、絶対。風邪薬もあるから、やっぱり調子悪いかもって思ったら、遠慮しないでちゃんと言ってね。わかったわ。
I nod and then look her up and down from head to toe.
何？
She gazes back at me in confusion.
なんでもないわ。気にしないで。
I shake my head and then look at the clock. I have no idea what that was even about. At this time, people around here are usually awake.
ちょっとね。夢見が悪かったの。そうなんだ。どんな夢？
Oh, don't worry about it.
思い出すのも嫌だったりするのかな。
She covers her mouth with her hand in dismay.
別に、そういうわけではないけれど。
If anything, I consider it a dream I must never forget for the rest of my life. Or rather, one I can never forget, even if I want to.
昔の夢よ。着替える。
Leaving it at that, I pick up a nearby towel and begin to wipe down my neck and chest.
なーに？私の裸に興味でもあるの？ごめんなさい。
Reddening, she looks away.
別に構わないわよ。見たければどうぞ。あまり自信はないけれど。マナちゃんに自信がないとか言われたら、私なんか立場なさすぎるよ。そういうものかしら。自覚ないんだ。まあ、でもそういうものなのかな。とにかく、今夜はいい夢見られるといいね。
She smiles shyly and hurriedly leaves the room. Left alone in the quiet room, I can't help but sigh. Oribe Kokoro. She's the first younger sister I've ever had. Of course, that's only for the time being while I'm still here. Our relationship is ultimately not real, but there's something off about how familiarly, let's go with that, she treats me that's made it hard for me to fully regard her as a stranger. She's an odd girl. I don't know how to handle her properly. It seems like even Makoto doesn't even know how to handle her, which is impressive. I admit I was disturbed when I found out she had slept with her, but I think that was just because there was no one else around for him to sleep with. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't at least a little jealous, but considering Makoto's situation here, I can't help but blame him. At least he didn't attack some random woman on the street. And what's more,
外れがないのよね。あの子のおすすめ。
I briefly stop wiping my body and look over at the mountain of manga near my bed. They're the books Kokoro lent me when I told her I wanted something to read to kill time. She said she absolutely recommended them, and she was sure that I'd like them. And in fact, they were very interesting. I finished them quickly, and she promised to lend me some more. Her personality seems completely incompatible with mine, and yet our tastes in manga match perfectly. Very strange. Yeah, I mean, it can happen in like any situation. I mean, I've met quite a few people that I cannot sit with them. But anime is very, very much shared among many, many different types of people, so I'm sure it's the same for many types of media.
いい夢見られるといいね。
I'm sure she wasn't just being polite, she really meant it. Though I haven't known her for long, I can already tell how honest that she is, and how kind she is to everyone. She's convenient to be around, since I don't even have to use my kotodama to get her to do things. She doesn't annoy me like my classmates at school do. In a word, I guess I just like her. I stand up, letting my yukata fall from my shoulders, and then put on my underwear and school uniform. I look at my face in the mirror. The face I shared with my identical twin sister, who everyone said looked exactly like me. If Nozomi was still alive today, I wonder if we would still have shared the same face. Or would I have been the one whose face had changed? It's meaningless to hypothesize about such things. There's no way to find out the answer anyway. All I can do for now is carry on, you know? It's all you gotta do, it's all you can do. I think about the past a lot, but you do just have to, suck it up, move on. Nothing you can do to just think about the past. Hopefully people will start waking up pretty soon. I finished preparing everything, so before we eat, I'm washing my cooking utensils. It's been almost 20 minutes and we have not been with Makoto's point of view. Wowzers. There's no need to draw water from a well, you just twist the faucet and water comes out, so washing dishes is super easy. I'm no longer shocked by such modern conveniences, but I still feel very grateful for them every time I use them. Huh? I hear a small sound. When I turn around, I see Kokoro has arrived. Good morning.
おはよう、兄さん。
We exchange our usual morning greeting. Did you just sigh? First thing in the morning? Is something wrong? She seems lost for words as she looks down at her chest and frowns slightly.
なんでもないから気にしないで。
Oh? I might be imagining it, but her face looks a little red. I just hope she didn't catch a cold. Damn, everybody is just so considerate whether they've, gotten sick or anything like that. Not like that here in reality, or at least here in America. You're not feeling unwell or anything, are you? Just in case, I walk over to her and put my hand on her forehead. She doesn't seem to have a fever.
顔近い近い。
She retreats a few steps as if trying to escape from me.
大丈夫だから心配しないで。
Okay. I'm kind of curious about that sigh, but, well, I guess I'll just have to believe her. It's not something worth forcing her to confess with a kotodama.
そんなことより、今日のお弁当どんな感じ？
As she averts her gaze from me, her eyes fix on the lunchboxes that I've set out on the counter. Incidentally, those two are for me and her.
美味しそうだね。お昼が楽しみ。
Breakfast today is the leftovers from those lunchboxes. I hope you don't mind.
お母さんが作る時もいつもそんな感じだよ。いちいち別に作るの手間かかって大変だし。
I'm glad she seems fine with it.
おはよう。
Hey yo, what's going on, Azuki? Speak of the devil, etc. Azuki-san emerges. God damn, I really am stupid today. And in general. She leisurely emerges from her room at the back of the first floor. Good morning, Mom.
おはようお母さん。ののちゃんは？まだ寝てるのかしら。もう起きてるよ。着替えてたからそろそろ来るんじゃないかな。そっかそっか。二度寝してなければそれで結構。
As she nods and then looks at the lunchboxes I prepared. I don't know why I'm throwing words and sentences.
美味しそうね。なかなか。
Ha.
何？今、何か笑うところあった？
Yeah, you just did almost exactly the same thing Kokoro did a minute ago. I thought it was amusing. There's something nice about this kind of morning. It makes me really feel like I'm part of the family again. Until recently, Kyoko and Suzuka were here, and I was occupied almost entirely with them. Yeah, it did kind of seem like Kokoro and Azuki were just kind of shoved to the side a lot, which I kind of felt okay with here and there. Like, we had a story to focus on, and so we would kind of just jump to focusing on that story, like, oh yeah, I just used a kotodama and they're okay with everything and whatever else. We don't have to make up a scene where we're trying to fudge the situation. It's taken care of for us, which is fine. We're focused on that. But at the same time, we're kind of just, jumping around, I don't know. I feel like it's more pros than cons. I'm just rambling and complaining. Of course, I enjoyed those days too, but it's nice to be properly back amongst the Oribe family again.
一緒に暮らしていると、無意識のうちに行動が似てくるのよ、きっと。うん、そういうものなんだと思う。まあ、兄さんもそのうち似てくるのかな。男の子の場合はどうかしらね。ああ。
Azuki-san cocks her head to the side and then looks back and forth between Kokoro's face and my lunchboxes.
料理に関しては、すでに心よりもはるかに私よりかしら。誠くんが帰ってきてくれて、お母さん、本当に大助かりだわ。
She chuckles, her tone is teasing, but I'm sure she half means it. I'm glad if I've been useful to you. I don't think I'm doing anything special though, I'm just doing whatever I can to help. But it's good to hear her thank me. If not for Azuki-san and Kokoro, I don't think I'd be leading such a fulfilling life these days.
このお弁当、心と自分の分だけよね。マナちゃんの分は作らないの？
No, I offered to make a lunchbox for her once, but she said that she didn't want it. Apparently she likes to buy her lunch at school. She said she wants to try every item on the menu at the school cafeteria. Well, she's lived in the village her whole life, so it's not surprising that she's still so interested in various things around here. I understand the feeling very well, since I'm the same way, so I'm fine with letting her do what she likes. It's good to be curious about new things.
やっぱり、ちょっと変わってるわね、あの子。
She smiles, looking a little impressed.
私は、誠くんのお弁当の方が絶対に美味しいと思うんだけど。
They both nod in agreement. Oh, Mom, that reminds me.
何?
The refrigerator is almost empty. When making the lunchboxes, I realized that we're almost out of ingredients. Well, if we do run out, we can always restock from the stores nearby. The level of convenience that people here enjoy compared to back in the village is really like night and day.
そうね。今日はちょっと早めにお店を閉めて買い出しに行くつもりよ。
Do you want me to go instead? If I do the shopping on my way back from school, that'll save you the trouble. I doubt that we need all that many ingredients at once, but still, it'll mean carrying shopping bags. I still don't want Azuki-san exerting herself too much if possible.
いいの？お願いしちゃっても。
Of course not. In fact, I'll even make dinner tonight.
いいわよ。さすがにそこまでは。
No, Mom, you've been working a lot recently. I know you feel a lot better than before, but still, I don't want you overworking yourself. You should close the cafe early and just rest once in a while. If she pushes herself too hard and collapses again, I wouldn't be able to forgive myself.
誠。お母さん、感動しちゃったわ。高校息子を持って、私って本当に幸せ者ね。私も兄さんの妹で本当に良かったと思う。
The two of them each clasp one of my hands as they both look at me tearfully. Wow, they really are in perfect sync sometimes, like mother like daughter. You're exaggerating. Really, I'm just doing whatever I can to help out. If anything, I wish I could do more for them than just this kind of stuff.
なら、悪いけど、甘えさせてもらうわね。
Okay. Honestly, I wish they'd ask even more of me.
それなら買い物、私も一緒に付き合う。ありがとう。じゃあ、
Azuki-san smiles gently and takes out her wallet. She takes out a few bills and hands them to Kokoro.
後で買ってくるもののメモを渡すからよろしくね。はーい。ちょっとくらいなら無駄遣いしてもいいわよ。買い出しのおだちんってことで。
Thank you. Our chopsticks are pretty beat up, so I've been wanting to get some new ones.
兄さん、それは無駄遣いじゃないから。
Okay, but silverware is important, or utensils in general. Kokoro rolls her eyes as she takes out her own wallet and puts the bills safely inside. Are you sure? They aren't broken or anything. We could probably keep using them for a while.
それは買いましょう。いずれ必要になるんだし。メモに入れておくわ。私が言ったのは、もっと個人的に欲しいおやつとか小物とかそういうものを買ってもいいという意味よ。
Oh, let's see. This is, what year could this be? Between 2010 and, 2020, right? I would say Xbox 360. No, that's not out right now. That would be the Xbox One. And we want to avoid that. So PS4, there we go. Let's just grab that. I can't really think of anything like that. I'm already more than satisfied with my life here. And compared to the village, I already own tons of little odds and ends.
それも兄さんらしい気がする。欲がないのね。あ、いけない。
I did not mean to click that early there. I didn't even read all of that. As she glances at the clock and notices the time. I'll do that one too.
ダメ。それくらいやらないと私がぐうたら星人になっちゃう。でも私がちょこっと手伝うくらいはいいよね。
Before Azuki-san can react, Kokoro walks over to the garbage bags and picks up the two heaviest ones. What remains are two fairly light ones. Carrying them shouldn't put too much strain on Azuki-san.
ありがとう。じゃあ、行ってくるわ。
See you. Be careful.
心配しすぎだよ、兄さん。
Laughing, the two of them leave the house. Goddamn, the house. Jesus. The trash collection area is pretty close by, so she's right that there's not too much to worry about. But still, I just really don't want anything bad to happen to either of them again. That's how I truly feel.
おはよう。
Moments later, Mana comes down the stairs. Good morning. Whoa! She walks straight up to me and hugs me. Mana? Oh shit. White snowflakes flit across my vision. Her skin is slightly cool to the touch. Did something happen? I ask her quietly as she buries her face in my chest. She nods.
寒いの。
She squeezes me tight. I bring my arms around her and hug her back without a word. It's been a long time since I felt this feeling, soft but cool.
お兄ちゃんの体、暖かくて気持ちいい。
She's calling me Oni-chan even though we're alone together. Has she decided to always be Oribe Mana when inside this house? Or is it just a show that this is supposed to be a sisterly hug? I just feel warm because you're cold.
心たちは
They went to take out the garbage. They'll be back soon, I think.
そう。
She begins to move her hands around on my back as if to savor the feeling of holding me. Mana?
なーに
She looks up at me plaintively. She doesn't seem to want to let go. Of course, I don't mind being hugged like this, but I feel like it might be bad if Kokoro or Atsuki-san saw it happening. Like I said, they're gonna be back any minute. What are you going to do if they see us?
いいじゃない。別に。私は何も気にしない。
Well, I kind of mind, or I've started to recently.
そう。変わったのね。お兄ちゃんは。
She continues to show no signs of letting go. In fact, the movement of her hands becomes more and more sexual. Pretty soon, it'll be more accurate to say that she's groping me. Mana, what do you want? Don't tell me you want to,
私は、それでも構わないわ。お兄ちゃんがしたいなら。
She laughs and then looks again at my face. A brother and sister don't do that kind of thing, and even if they did, they wouldn't show it off to their other family members. Probably. No, you're right. You're right. At least not in this family, they wouldn't.
心は抱いたのに。
Well... She makes an unfortunately good point, but I don't regret sleeping with Kokoro. I thought it was necessary at the time, and I wanted to do it too. I can't explain it very well, but That was then and this is now, and I'm not in the same mindset anymore.
別にそれはそれで構わないわ。でも、
She traces down my spine with her finger as she whispers sensuously into my ear.
気になるなら、見られなかったことにすればいいだけ。私たちには、そうできる力があるのだから。
Yeah, and it's the same kind of power that almost got us killed. She's right. If Kokoro or Azuki-san saw us, we could just rewrite their memories using kotodama. But something inside me doesn't want to let it come to that. I don't want to unnecessarily use my kotodama on them, and I don't want Mana to either.
何をためらうことがあるの？
She rubs her cheek against mine as she adjusts her arms around my back. She presses her breasts against me as she starts to entangle her legs with mine. She's clearly going for it. When she does this, I can use my kotodama to tell her to get off me, and she will. Though her power is much stronger than mine, so I don't know what kind of kotodama she'll speak in revenge. So I'd like to avoid using my kotodama on Mana too.
でも、そうね。
Before I can wonder what she'll say next, she suddenly steps away from me. Mana?
お兄ちゃんの言う通りかもしれない。
Her seductive smile is evaporated.
言霊を使わずに済むなら、その方がいいか。
Yeah, we should try to avoid using it unless absolutely necessary. If she started to understand that, I'll be very happy.
あら？
Her gaze alights on the lunchboxes on the counter.
お兄ちゃんが作ったの？
Yeah.
自分の分と心の分？
That's right. She thinks for a minute. What's she up to?
ね、これ私の分も用意してもらえないかしら。
Huh? I thought you had decided to always buy your lunch at the cafeteria.
別に決めていたわけじゃないわ。これまではそういう気分だったというだけ。
She laughs and looks at me meaningfully.
心境が変化したの。
Well, she got us there. Yeah, there you go.
ダメ？あ、もちろん明日からで構わないわ。
Sure, I can do that. Making 3 lunchboxes is barely any more work than making 2. If Mana wants me to, I have no reason to decline.
ただいまー。あら、おはよう、マナちゃん。おはよう。
She smiles and greets them as if nothing had happened between us. What am I gonna do with her? I don't know, Okay, you know what? I will admit, from this episode alone, I've grown a little bit more fond of Mana. Just slightly, okay? Just a teeny tiny bit. Everyone spends lunch break a little differently. Some people rush out of the classroom as soon as the bell rings, while others simply melt into their desks. Some people eat lunch leisurely as a group while chatting, while others scarf down their lunch and spend the rest of the break reading. It's fun just to sit and watch them, but if I do that the whole time, I won't have time for my own break. After a while, I decide to go over and eat lunch with Koichi.
お兄ちゃん。
Oh, never mind. As I stand up from my desk, Mana calls to me.
ね、今日は二人だけでお昼にしない？
Now, I have a bad feeling about that. So, without Koichi, she means. Was there something you wanted to talk to me about in private?
特にそういうわけでもないけれど、気分ではダメ？
She looks at my face, gauging my reaction. Sure, I don't mind at all. But I should at least let Koichi know first. I walk over to Koichi. Sorry, Koichi. Turns out I can't eat lunch with you today.
あ、そうか。わかった。
Sorry about that. Well, that went surprisingly smooth. Well, yeah, usually people are just, understanding and that's that.
何か用事でも？
Sort of. I'm gonna be eating lunch alone with Mana today. Koichi glances in Mana's direction.
二人でね。マナちゃんの方から誘ってきたのか？
Yeah, apparently she just felt like it today. Even back in the village, Mana always had a capricious side. Capricious? Let's go with that. I don't mean that she yanked people around for the sake of it. Sake. It's more that she lived according to her whims. That was just her style.
なるほど。たまには家族サービスも大事だろ。
He stands up and claps me on the shoulder.
じゃあな。今日は他のやつに声かけてみるよ。
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's how it is usually, or how it was whenever I was in high school. Everyone would have their, own friend group. And it's not like Japanese schools where you are in one classroom for like the majority of the day. So after you're done with the period before lunch, you're leaving anyways. Like, you just go outside, go elsewhere. Some classrooms actually remain open so you can eat your lunch in them. And there's just like spots where you can go and eat lunch if you brought a lunch with you or if you're going to go and get it. And there were a few spots that I went to. It sort of just depended on who I wanted to hang out with, or if, you know, sometimes you just want to eat lunch alone, read, or work on an assignment over in a classroom. Sometimes you actually had to sacrifice your lunch for other priorities, such as schoolwork. High school, I don't really miss it. He waves goodbye and leaves, so I return to where Mana is waiting.
話はついたみたいね。
Yeah, let's go then. Where do you want to eat?
そうね。せっかくだから、なるべく人が少ないところがいいわ。
Maybe the courtyard? Oh, wait, Mana, should we stop by the cafeteria to get you some food first? I won't be making her lunchboxes until tomorrow. I don't mind sharing mine, but that'll probably just leave us both hungry.
ああ、それならそろそろ。
She indicates the direction of her desk. Several students returning to the classroom stop by her desk to drop off bread, onigiris, and other food like they're making offerings. Did you order them to do that? Would she really use her kotodama for such a petty reason? But she shakes her head.
いいえ、頼んだわけでもないのに、最近、向こうから勝手に持ってきてくれるのよ。この間、購買は好きなものがすぐ売り切れてしまうのよねって、ちょっとつぶやいただけなのに。
I see. Looking more closely, the pile of offerings does seem to contain only the most popular items, especially the ones that Mana likes. In other words, these students have been voluntarily acting as Mana's acquisitions agents? No, she's not even paying them. So it really is like her desk is an altar and they're leaving offerings for her on it. I guess this just proves beyond a doubt how popular she is. Or maybe she shouted a kotodama in her complaint? Maybe on accident? It's an odd phenomenon, but since she's not using her kotodama on them, I have no reason to stop her.
さあ、行きましょう。
We've learned that if you're very emotional or really stubborn or anything about something, yeah, it's likely kotodama's gonna get mixed in, unintentionally sometimes. She grabs a few onigiri and buns from the pile and then links arms with me as we leave the classroom. But where are we going? Courtyard, I think is what she said. We come out into the courtyard and find an empty bench to sit on. Barely anyone else is around. There's a group of 3 students sitting on a bench pretty far away and no one else. It's a beautiful but very hot day outside, so most students must be eating indoors.
よかった。空いてるわ。
Well, it is very hot today.
私にはちょうどいいくらいよ。
She speaks coolly as she unwraps one of the buns. She's not joking. Because of the snow kotodama, she always feels cold. So apparently she's more comfortable in hot weather. It must be terrible in the winter. Since she started eating, I open my lunchbox and start eating my own lunch.
ねえ、授業ってずっとこういう感じなのよね。
Halfway through her bun, she takes a breather. Like this? What do you mean? I put down my chopsticks and turn to face her.
朝から教室にこもって、午後まで永遠、教師の話を聞かされる。
I feel like it's less engaging compared to like what I've seen out of American schools, but again, I've only seen this shit in anime, so I have absolutely no idea how it actually is. Yeah, pretty much, I think. What I meant by engaging is that, sure, you may get called on, even we've seen that in anime and stuff like this. You get called on to answer a question or something, which means that you have to be paying attention. But what I mean by engaging is like working on projects during class or working in groups in general to like for an assignment or something, I don't know. Combining what I've heard from Kokoro, Hotaru, and various others, it really does seem like school is fundamentally supposed to be like this. There are sometimes events other than these classes, but they're not very frequent apparently.
しかも、3年も通うんでしょ？毎日毎日、同じようなことの繰り返しで、みんな飽きないのかしら？
Oh, 100%. From her line of questioning, I gather she must be getting bored herself. 3 years? That's just high school. In Japan, you have to go to school for at least 9 years, and most people do even more, I heard.
9年信じられないわ。
Her jaw drops.
一律な勉強ってそんなに必要なものかしら。
You gotta get a job somehow. I don't know, but a lot of people must think it's necessary. Otherwise, it wouldn't have become this way. The look on her face says, does not compute, as she takes another bite of her bun.
それはまあ最低限の知識、簡単な計算や表現を学ぶ必要は私だってあると思うわ。でもあんなわけのわからない数式や外国語なんて生活の中で役立つことなんてほとんどないでしょ。
I don't really disagree with what she's saying. If all you want to do is live your life, then most of the stuff we learn in class is probably unnecessary for you. And I'm sure plenty of people share Mana's opinion. I've even heard several people in our class complain about exactly the same thing. That's true, you're probably right, but I don't think it's totally meaningless. Probably the real value of studying lies in the act of studying itself. I think carefully as I speak.
学ぶことに価値。ねえ。
Also, I think it might be a way of preparing for different possibilities.
可能性への備え？
She looks at me uncomprehending. Yeah, you're right that a lot of the things we learn don't seem likely to be useful. But the reason we think so might just be because we're too inexperienced to know what will really be useful. Plus,
それに？
she gestures for me to continue. If you look at it from their perspective, it starts to make more sense, I think.
教える側って教師の？
Yeah, every student will walk a different path in life. So the most efficient thing for the student is to have a tailor-made curriculum just for them.
それはそうね。あ、でもそういうわけにはいかないから。
She understands what I'm getting at. Right, many students have to be taught at the same time, so they end up having to learning bits and pieces from many different fields. Having to learning bits? You mean learn? But also, by sampling from many different fields, the student gets a chance to find what direction they want to go in.
なるほどね。納得がいったわ。
And then once you find the direction you want to go in, if you go to some place like college, you begin taking courses that are a little bit more fine-tuned for what you're wanting to get a job in. So, for me, as an example, I went into computer science programming, and then I fucking dropped all that shit after I graduated. But the point is that once I got into the university level, I started to take classes that were only that. So the instructors there were actually teaching efficiently at that point, because they knew that everybody was there for that specific reason. She nods appreciatively at my explanation, and then takes another big bite of her bun. I take another few bites of my own lunch too. It's not as good as when it was fresh this morning, but it's still not bad if I do say so myself. I wonder if Kokoto's enjoying it too.
ねえ、お兄ちゃん？
Mana suddenly looks very cat-like. When she gets like this, she's always up to something. What?
はい。あーん。
This is happening in every fucking story here. She brings a freshly opened bun in my mouth. You're going to give it to me. She smiles and nods yes.
購買のパンはあまり食べたことないんでしょ？たまには味見するのもいいかと思って。
That's a good idea. Alright, I'll take you up on that offer. Thank you. I reach to take the bun from her hand, but she frowns at me.
そうじゃなくて、このままかじって。私の手か
But that seems kind of hard to coordinate.
らいいから。
And if that's what she wants, well, I suppose I have no reason to refuse. As requested, I take a bite of the bun poised in front of my mouth. The outer surface is crispy, but the inside is moist. The spicy taste of the filling spreads through my mouth. I think this is a curry bun. Delicious.
ずいぶん大きな一口ね。
Sorry, should I have taken a smaller one?
全部食べてもらっても構わないけど。そうね。せっかくだから、
She laughs gleefully as she hands me another wrap bun.
今度はお兄ちゃんが私に食べさせてちょうだい。
Oh, I see. Oh, excuse me, here. I hold out the bun in front of her mouth, and she pouts at me again. What is she unhappy about?
そうじゃなくて、さっきの私と 同じようにやってほしいの。
Okay. Like she did. Does she mean the part where she said ah or say ah? Suddenly I noticed that the 3 students on the other bench keep glancing in our direction.
どうしたの？早く。お願い。
Ah, right. I'm a little concerned about those glances, but oh well. It's not like we're doing anything obviously sexual, like when Mana was hugging me this morning. Here, say ah. Smiling happily, she opens her mouth and takes a bite of the bun. A girlish smile spills across her face. She's been reading too much fucking manga. I haven't seen this kind of smile on her face for a long time. Are you happy now?
なんだかいつものカレーパンより美味しいような気がするわ。
Still smiling, she reaches up to touch my jaw with one hand. Mana?
じっとして。口の端が汚れてる。
Her fingers slide sensually across my lips as she picks up a bit of curry from the bun.
これで綺麗になったわ。
She puts the finger in her mouth and slowly licks it clean. Thanks. This morning's hug must still be on my mind because Mana's every motion is making my heart skip a beat. I don't even think she's especially trying to be seductive or teasing. That's probably just the nature of our relationship. If she wants to do something, she'll tell me. If she doesn't want to do something, she'll tell me that too. And if she wants me to do something, she'll tell me to do it. That's how Mana's always treated me, and conversely, how I've treated her too. Sometimes we dabble with the usual shallow romantic back and forth, but we're connected to each other at our roots because we share the same nature. We're kotodama users with divine blood running through our veins. How you define yourself at the deepest level, and as what, is what people call your identity. Beyond simply being a man and a woman, above all, our nature as kotodama users is what we always return to. Of course, for my part, that aspect of my identity has begun to fade a little recently.
明日のお昼も楽しみね。お兄ちゃんのお弁当。
She looks over at what I'm eating as she pops the rest of her bun in her mouth. Oh, that reminds me. The mention of cooking reminds me of the errand I'm supposed to run today.
何？
Our refrigerator is almost empty at home, so I'm going shopping on the way home today. What we buy will affect what I can make for tomorrow, too. Before I can ask her whether she wants to come with me, she nods.
ああ、それなら私も一緒に行くわ。行きたいところがあるの。
Where's that? I'm curious what kind of place Mana would specifically want to visit outside of our village.
本を売っている店があったでしょ。そこで漫画を買いたいの。
I was aware that thanks to Kokoro, she was getting more and more interested on manga recently. That was a weird one. But I'm surprised that she's gotten so hooked that she'd go out of her way to actually buy more.
心に聞
It
い
worked
た
on
ら
me.
借りた漫画の続きが出ているみたいだから。
I see. Well, with the manga, the cafeteria buns, etc., Mana really does have an interest in the outside world after all. Okay, let's go there then. We'll meet up after school. Kokoro will be coming too. She nods and then reaches for an onigiri. Well, that was nice. You know what? This has actually probably been the first episode that has primarily focused on Mana, which we haven't gotten many of those because probably the only one or so have been when she, joined the cast of characters here outside the village. And you know what? This was good. This was actually enjoyable from her, side of things. I will take it. Thank you all for watching this episode. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all of that fancy jazz. And I don't believe I'm gonna say this. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next in this story. Let's keep it rolling. Alrighty, take it easy, guys.